We can't deny the power of Pokemon 151, and with lots of talks recently of potential reprint/restocks coming of 151, what will happen to the sealed products and the single card prices, and are they still good investments, or should you wait and see what happens towards the end of the year when more products hit the shelves? Well, today we'll be going through everything 151, so let's jump in. Okay, so Pokemon 151 is one of the strongest sets, in the Scarlet and Violet era. Everybody loves it, right? And here's the thing, right? Sealed product is doing incredibly well. It really is, right? We can't deny booster bundles are going up, ETBs are going up, just the booster packs are going up, the UPC is going up, but the single card prices, I mean, they're holding steady. They're not exactly going up with the sealed product, but they're not going down either. They've been pretty stale, for a long time, for a few months. That's fine, especially a lot of the set has been opened and people are still trying to get hold of, product. Over here in the UK, 151 is getting tough. It really is getting difficult to get hold of packs for a decent price, with some places selling packs for around £8, £8 to £10 even in some places. So you could look at over $10 a booster pack for 151, which is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. Over in the US, we've seen the Costco's exclusives of the 151 ETB with some other products with it for a really good price. Let's put these things into perspective. For the same price of that Costco combo, you can't even buy a normal ETB of 151 over here, because a normal ETB over here for 151 is nearly £80 an ETB, which is crazy. We're looking at pretty much $100 for a basic level ETB of 151. So yes, things are getting pretty silly over here, but that's fine because there are more product coming at the end of this year. We don't know exactly what products are coming and how much of each product is coming. The only thing I know is what's coming over here in the UK. I don't know what's happening elsewhere, but over here in the UK, we're expected to receive ETBs, booster bundles, and the Zapdos and Alakazam collection boxes. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but today we're going to be taking a look at what's going on with the card prices and the sealed product, and we're going to see whether or not now is still a good time, or should you wait and see what gets released. Let's get into it. Alright, starting things off, we have a 151 booster bundle display. So this is 10 of these booster bundles all crammed in together as like one nice little box, right? Now, booster bundles were the optimal product to purchase if you just wanted packs, right? They came out over here for around £24 a booster bundle. So you were picking up packs for around £4 a pack. Pretty good, right? You didn't get anything else, you just got the packs. This has been going up like crazy, right? Even just the normal booster bundles, we're seeing booster bundles over here going crazy as well. It really depends. I think the reprint will cause prices to fall, of course, or restock, whatever you want to call it. There's just more coming, right? That's all that matters. It's the fact that more product is hitting the shelves. Whether or not you want to call it a reprint or a restock, the ultimate thing is there are more product hitting the shelves, which is, I think, what the majority of people want. I think the majority of people want to be able to pick up 151 without paying an extortionate price, especially over here. It is pretty crazy. So we got the booster bundle, $480 nearly for this. Over the past 3 months, this bad boy has been climbing like crazy. But pretty much over the past year since the set came out, because it hasn't been out that long, we've seen it drop and then bounce back pretty high. Going to as low as around $350, which is about $35 a booster bundle, which isn't too bad. But now you're looking around about $48 a booster bundle, which is pretty nuts, right? Bear in mind, you only get 6 packs in there. Things are getting pretty pricey when it comes to the booster bundle display. Like I say, it all depends on the quantity that they're willing to restock. I think booster bundles will fly off the shelves, and I think ETBs will probably be the one that will be printed the most, or at least released the most. So yeah, I think this one will fall a little bit, but I think it will bounce back, especially a full display. Moving on, we have the UPC. Now, the UPC over here, you can still buy on the Pokemon Center website with the Squirtle promo. So that's actually really good. For us, at least, that's one good thing with our 151, is we can still get the Squirtle promo for paying £120 for the UPC. Now, we're looking at $123. It has been climbing over the past 3 months. I did a video before 151 came out telling people, do not buy the 151 UPC at the inflated prices that people were selling it for, because at the time people were selling it for like $140, $150, especially over here in the UK. It was pretty crazy. And then what ended up happening, it dropped below £100, and then people were picking up left, right, and centre. So it rewarded for waiting a little bit. You know, you did get some people that managed to pick up, you know, the Pokemon Center version because it came with the Squirrel promo. But yeah, you know, it still can get it now, which is very, very good. So we've seen over the past year that this thing has dropped, but it's climbing. It's doing relatively well. You know, we can't deny that it's doing well. And I've always said premium is key, and this is definitely one of them. Similar to the Charizard UPC, both are fantastic products. Even the Arceus V-Star is a good product. But this is doing well. You know, now is a good time to get it. Will they reprint more? Possibly. But I have a feeling that there is still quite a lot of these out there, especially over here. We can still buy them quite easy. At the moment, this is probably one of the most cost-effective ways of getting hold of packs of 151 over here in the UK, which is pretty savage. It is pretty harsh. But you get the promos. They're not really worth much. But you do get the promos, which do look pretty cool as well. Then we've got the regular ETBs. We're not going to talk about the Pokemon Center ETBs because I highly doubt that they'll get restocked, but you never know. But we're not going to talk about them because they're pretty much going to keep going up because they're really good investment pieces. But if you look at the normal ETBs, we've seen these at $65. This has been doing, again, relatively well. Similar to what we saw with Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith kind of had the similar trend, and then a reprint of Crown Zenith came, and this fell. If we look over the past year, it is pretty much near enough at its highest point, gaining 25% in value upon the year, which is very, very good. And like I say, over here in the UK, this is silly expensive, right? This was around £50 for the ETB, and we're now looking around that between £70 to £80 in ETB, which we put that into perspective. You know, you're looking around about $90 to $100, which is nuts. It is just absolutely bonkers, especially you only get 9 packs in it. You're looking at more than, you know, basically $10 or more than $10 a pack. That is not great. So going back to the booster bundles, just looking at the individual booster bundles, we've got $43 here, and it's been doing very well. I mean, over the past, just over the past 3 months, it's gone up 22%. Over the past year, we're looking at about 32% increase, which is still relatively good. Again, like similar to the displays, I think this will dip a little bit, but will bounce back. I just think this is just such a good little product. So, you know, you could pick this up now. You could wait. I mean, I don't expect it to drop that much. You know, you could probably pick some up, you know, probably at that retail price, which will probably be, what, that 25 or so, or between 25 and 30. And you'll see a dip. Of course you will. But then I think you'll bounce back. I have a feeling that there'll be less of these than ETBs. All right, moving on to some of the single card prices. Like I say, these have held pretty steady. So we have the Charizard here, the big card of the set. Over the past 3 months, it's up 7%. Over the past year, this card has dropped 11%. So this card has actually fallen. It's probably due to, like, somewhat good pull rates. Like, you get quite a few. Like, we haven't opened up a huge amount of 151 on the channel, but we've pulled the Charizard way more than the Blastoise and the Venusaur. I think the Venusaur is the least pulled one we've got, but we've got a lot of Charizards. So it's quite interesting that this is still holding, you know, relatively well. I think on top of that, you also got to take into consideration the cost per pack as well. Because I think if the packs were cheaper, and obviously the product was more readily available, you would see a lot more of this opened. I think you just would, right? And I think the value would drop. When there's more product coming at the end of the year, this will fall. I don't know how much by, maybe to like 100, but it will fall. I think this is still going to be a good card. I still think it's going to be one of the best cards in the Scarlet and Violet era, even though I'm not a fan of this art. I mean, Charizard takes up like 10 to 20% of the artwork. It's just, it's not the best. Then we have the Blastoise, which is the second most expensive card in the set. I think this is way better than the Charizard in my opinion. I think the Blastoise looks incredible. So here we're looking at $50 for this one. Over the past 3 months, it's gone up 23%. That's pretty good. Over the past year, let's see how it's done. Pretty much stayed steady. I mean, it's dropped the smallest amounts. Sitting at $50, this one's doing relatively well. I must admit, this is doing well. This is one of the few cards I think we'll see that is doing relatively well, but we'll take a look at some of the others. But compared to the Charizard, this is a good one. Like, this is really good. Of course, I expect it to drop. Of course, all the cards across the board I expect to drop. But, you know, this is one which is holding. And then next up, we have the Venusaur, which is the third most expensive card, sitting at $43. Like I say, this one seems harder to pull. I don't know why, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the value of this. I mean, even over the last 3 months, this has gone up 22%, which is very good. Over the past year, it's up nearly 5%. It's outperforming, you know, in terms of pricing anyway, in percentages, than, you know, the Blastoise and the Charizard. So Venusaur is one to look out for. Like I say, it's getting harder. One thing that I will say is when reprints happen, pull rates tend to be tougher. I don't know why, it always seems to be the case. So that might have an impact to stop the prices from falling like crazy, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we've got the Zapdos EX, my favorite card in the set, my chase card. I'm glad to finally have this in my collection. We're looking at $41, and over the past 3 months, this card's done very well. It's gone up by 25%. But let's look over the past year, it's down 10.5%. So yes, it's made a bit of a bounce back, which is fantastic. But all in all, it is still down by 10%, which isn't a huge amount. It's not a massive deal, but I do expect this to fall again, similar to the others. And as you can see, a lot of these prices, not really much has changed, right? Even over the past year, dropping 10% is not that crazy. I mean, fair enough, it did actually drop way more. It did actually drop by 30% before it then started to climb back up. But still, it's quite interesting that even though it's getting more expensive and harder to get hold of 151 right now, a lot of the single card prices haven't seen crazy booms. Next, we've got the Alakazam EX SIR coming in at 33. It's up by 13% over the past 3 months. Over the past year, though, down 21%. This is what I kind of expected a lot of these cards to fall, if I'm honest, from how much 151 has been opened. It did actually go by 40% nearly, and it's bounced back up a little bit. But wow, yeah, this Alakazam has seen massive price falls from where it once was. And it will continue to fall, you know, it will continue to fall when more of the product hits the shelves. So not looking good for this Alakazam. Then we have the full art Charizard. This one's always done relatively well. We're looking at $32 just for a full art. It's just a full art EX, nothing super crazy. Over the past 3 months, nothing's happened really. Over the past year, again, nothing's really happened. It's up 2%, which is, you know, sounds amazing. I mean, it was up by 24% at one point, and it has been dropping since, you know, from the highs of nearly $40. So it has dropped a little bit. It is Charizard, so it does have that going for it, which will help. But I think this one will continue to fall again, similar to the others. Now we're looking at some of the illustration rares. They've done very well. I think the illustration rares are kind of like, in a way, the saving grace for this set, right? They've been doing very well. Charmander at $30. Over the past 3 months, it's gone up by 21%, which is very good. Over the past year, it's down 16%. So again, yes, it's bouncing back from being down 35% and only now being 16%, so it's getting a little bit. It's still down. It's still doing well, right? This is still an illustration rare at $30, which is very, very impressive. We've been seeing the boom of illustration rares happen across the board in Scarlet and Violet era, and I think 151 is another example of just really strong performing illustration rares. Then we've got the Squirrel. This one's actually done relatively well as well. We're at $28 for the Squirrel. Beautiful art. It's my favorite out of the starters. It's gone up by 13% over the past 3 months, but over the past year, this card's gone up 27%. This card's done very well. Like very, very well, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not quite as high as it was up there by $30, but it's basically there, right, at 28, 29. This one's performing incredibly well. This one, I mean, I would expect it to drop like all of them, but the fact is that it keeps going up. Squirrel could overtake Charmander, potentially. And then we've got the Erika's Invitation. When this set first came out, this was a big card, like huge card, especially from the Japanese set. Massive. And we're looking here at $17. This card over the past 3 months has dropped 2%. Over the past year, this card has dropped 66%. That is crazy. You know, we're looking at a big money card, and this poor thing's dropped like no tomorrow. And it's continuing to drop. This card could reach $10 if it keeps going this way, especially when more product hits the shelves. This is an SIR that you don't really want to pull. And then finally, the last product I want to look at is the Zapdos collection boxes. Alakazam's are relatively similar as well. I don't want to miss this one. This one is, you know, potentially on the road to getting restocked as well, especially over here in the UK. This is getting more pricey, right? We're starting to see them be around about £30 or so, which, if you think about it, £7.50 a pack. It's not too bad, but it's still quite high, of course, higher than MSRP. And again, over in the US, you're looking at $31. So over the past 3 months, it's gone up by 11.5%. Over the past year, it's up 21%. So it is doing relatively well. You know, if more of these come and hit the shelves, I mean, what are they supposed to be, like 24 or so? You could be looking at picking them up. I would suggest picking some up at 24. I'm not a huge fan of collecting normal collection boxes unless they're premium, but I think 151 is most definitely an exception. So you have it, guys. That's what's going on with 151. Will this hurt the set or will it help the set? I think it will hurt the set in the short term, but I think in the long term, the set's still going to perform very well. Of course, it does depend on how much Pokemon is willing to, you know, reprint / restock this. because if they do a Shining Fates on us, this set is going to get absolutely obliterated. But if they continue what they're currently doing, which is basically drip feeding 151 to us, which is, it's okay, but I still think the demand is much higher than the supply, especially like I say over here, where it is very expensive for 151. I'm all for it. You know, more product, the better. I would like to open up some more 151. Currently, you know, sealed, I've only got the Pokemon Center ETBs, and I've got a couple of the UPCs. I don't really have anything else. I probably will pick up some booster bundles if they do come and they do become cheaper. Then I will grab some, maybe grab a display, and that'll be quite a nice one to get. But overall, 151 is still doing relatively well. You know, it is, you know, sealed products is doing actually very well. Whereas the single card price is not the best, even though there are some cards that are climbing, like the Squirrel, for example. But a lot of them will fall, but that is to be expected. But I think it will bounce back just as strong. If you made this far into the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. And let me know down in the comments what your thoughts about more 151 here in the shelves later on this year, around October time. Just in time for the holidays. I think it will do well. I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to picking up some more products just to open. You know, I haven't really opened up much of this set at all, so that'd be kind of cool and good fun, because at the moment it is getting a little bit pricey. But that is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen, and of course make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You guys are the legends, and I'll see you in the next one.